Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, I was in Muranga, and to be specific, I went all the way to Gatanga Vocational Training. Then I applied the route all the way to somewhere called Kimemo. Then from Kimemo to another place called as Gadeaidi. Yes, so it was a very interesting event that I went to attend there. Now, on our way to Gatanga, I saw some flags. It is actually, these flags were between town to Kasarani. There are two flags, one for Kenya, and there is another one that it doesn't resemble, you can't know whether it's for a political outfit or something. But I captured those flags, huh? And it really captured my attention because I was wondering what exactly those flags were for. I later realized that those flags were actually erected there in the eve of William Ruto and Gachagua's swearing in. Of course, I did not attend. The people who attended the swearing in Kasarani, on your way to Kasarani, there were some flags. The one for Kenya, and there is another one which did not belong to UDA, but ilikuwa na stripes ya yellow and green. So I was asking my good driver that what exactly was happening and why were those flags? Then I came to realize that it's just some sort of a depiction to show the freedom is coming. Now, I think I have captured now. These are the flags we're seeing on your screen. So what do you think is it? It was something that was just planned in the eve that swearing in. It's nothing to deal with UDA or Azimio or any other political party, but it was targeting really the Mount Kenya people that were going to attend that swearing in. I don't know for what reason. Now, there were calls for President Uhuru Kenyatta to exit the political scene so that he would not dent his legacy. And I agree that the president would be in order, that if the president was still going to stay around, even as the chair of Azimio, when Azimio was not in government, and Azimio is now going to be is now going to lead the opposition front, President Uhuru Kenyatta will carry the blame game on William Ruto. So if President Uhuru will still be active now, you would have actually seen direct blames on his government. Whenever he will say something, there could be direct attacks on his government. And I think he was advised. And since the inauguration ceremony on 13th in Kasarani, the president left the event, did not go to State House, and understood flew to Mombasa. And then after that, he's taking a very strategic retreat. True to my point, yesterday I was in that place called Gadeadi, and of course it was an event, so we managed to associate some opinion leaders there with also the village elders. There's some village elders and some members of the clergy there. The question in their mind is, and that's what they're actually asking, is now that the president has left and he was being asked to leave, the president seems did not groom anyone, and there is a perception that Gachagua was not one of those who should be considered for grooming. Perhaps he doesn't need the grooming. He will be a king by his own making if he happens to. Now, I realize that president has decided to sit back. You look through Azimio activities, the event by the parliamentary group meetings that were held by Azimio La Umoja in Athi River. President did not attend. But remember, the meeting, the parliamentary group of Azimio that was held before the first sitting of the parliament and the election of the two speakers, President Uhuru Kenyatta was attending both with Raila Odinga. But after that inauguration, the former president decided to sit back. and now he's watching. Maybe he's giving counsel at the background. I think this is very good, and I laud former president for doing that. And I want to look at it this way. Number one, that exit to many people has opened to Mount Kenya, the minds of Mount Kenya, on who is next. Because I want us to look at it this way. Raila sustained attacks and criticism on judiciary and IBC, which according to me has emerged as his next course of a concentrated course of action. And maybe somewhere they will form a presidential team, mount a presidential campaign for 2027, even if they are endorsing another candidate, is something that president will not be. President Uhuru Kenyatta cannot be in that platform because remember the judges that were appointed by judiciary were rejected by the president. Remember some of the 4 commissioners that Wafula Chebukati wants to send away from the commission, were to reject from the commission, were appointed by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, so what are you seeing? What you are seeing here, critically, is the fact that president will carry a blame, and that is at the national stage. But in Mount Kenya, there is a critical question on who is going to take the mantle. Depending on how you look at it, there are people that see Rigathi Gachagua as a potential, and of course, by the virtue of him being a deputy president, he is a potential. However, I feel Rigathi is being deflated. And I want to tell you why. Rigathi's chances of mounting the Mount Kenya activism were only propelled by the presence of President Uhuru Kenyatta. And what they're doing is just residual. Because you remember at the inauguration in front of Vistas, what that speech, that explosive speech he made, it was not just to tell the country how he suffered, but it was just to demonize and make sure that former President Uhuru Kenyatta is reduced to nothing. That was his intention. And that intention is harbored by one objective: to thrust himself as the Mount Kenya Kingpin. So it's a very interesting development that people are looking at it. And now with the absence of the former president, I have a feeling that Rigathi Gachagua is lacking the strong words and the ground of cementing his fan base in Mount Kenya. The people that he was approaching and he worked with were being held together by a narrative that president abandoned the region, they voted for him, he did not bring development in the region, and now he's there. And another reason why you can look at it, the odds are against Rigathi is at the national stage. Yes, government is Kenya Kwanza. It's not Go Kenya Kwanza. It's UDA government. But at the national stage, there are different interests that must play. You cannot. It's very easy to customize campaign messaging on Mount Kenya, Mount Kenya, Mount Kenya. But on implementing government policies and government projects, there needs to be a national outlook. So, because of that nationality of the office of the presidency, Rigathi seems to have been shredded off that Mount Kenya activism. It's no longer tenable for you to go to shout in Nyeri or in Meru about Mount Kenya issues while you are a sitting deputy president. Because people will ask you, so what have you done or what are you doing? And now, I want to say this, that Martha Karua stands as a voice of reason against government failures. Now, Martha Karua stands this chance this way. And in my engagement with some of the few people I'm speaking with, is government is never 100% efficient. And what the people expect, it's practical for the expectation not to be met even within the first 5 years. If anything, the already propaganda that I think one of the leaders was saying that They only got something like 3 million in the treasury, which I think is a joke. That's not possible. But what does that tell you? That tells you that coming in future election 2027, this time round, Mount Kenya did not have a presidential candidate. Now, in 2027, the marriage that was binding between Rigathi and William Ruto was cemented by the presence of President Uhuru Kenyatta in the space. Now, with the president not in the space, there are problems that are still perennial that we might still go to the next election while they are still there. Because when we talk about hunger, and we talk about road constructions that have stalled the projects, some of the projects might not even be funded in this government. Because again, William Ruto's government is not giving priority to capital intensive projects. So what this stands is 3 years from now, the leaders like Martha Karua will use the Azimio platform to put Rigathi Gachagua on test. And that's what brings her out. So when the president's sitting back, he's not saying anything. Maybe we'll only speak when now we're going to add some voice into something. But it seems there is an open check that everyone can grab, take your angle, and run with it. So look, like for example, look at Sabina Chege from Muranga. Sabina Chege has been, I think, nominated as majority lead. Is it minority whip in the National Assembly, if I'm not wrong? She's the only Mount Kenya politician that is benefiting from that, while she's actually on roll. So someone like Sabina Chege, you cannot, despite the fact that she's going to give the Mount Kenya leaders on the other side a run for their money in the National Assembly, because that's a platform that you can execute whatever is affecting the Kenyan people. So while this might happen, you will see Sabina Chege emerging as a voice of reason, and this can camouflage to county politics, or better still, Mount Kenya East and Mount Kenya West. So it's an interesting development, because when the president is away, he was regarded as the most senior member and as the most vocal member of the community. Now that he's away, everyone else and the leaders in Kenya Kwanza, like even the Moses Kuria and Kabogo, who ran away from that, who spoke ill and ran away from that coalition, are not happy and not comfortable about Rigathi. William Ruto at one point have said that in 2032, when they exit the stage, the Tarakaniti, former Tarakaniti senator, will be active. So it's a wait and see. And I like the fact that now Mount Kenya kingpinship is not going to be hereditary. And if you look at between 2002, when Moi was fronting the young president, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, it was hereditary because Moi had taken over from Kenyatta Senior. So when he left, President Moi, of course, Moi Kibaki won. And when Moi Kibaki took over and gave back to President to Uhuru Kenyatta in 2013, it was more of a hereditary process. No one went out to pick it out of himself, because the former President Uhuru Kenyatta had served in Moi Kibaki's government as Minister of Finance and Deputy Prime Minister. So you can see that sort of grooming. Now, between now and the next 10 years, there will be massive grooming in Mount Kenya. And I can tell you that nothing is casted in stone. Even Peter Kenneth, I was in his village. By the way, I has really built a good house for the parents and very encouraging. I was in his village. These are people that when you talk to people there, they tell you, uyo bado wako. You cannot wish away everyone. And what I'm saying here is, I think Rigathi Gachagua has a lot of work to do. That for him to take over that position, the attack on the president is no longer sellable. No one is going to listen to that. You need to maneuver your way. And being with a boss who may at some time playing one for the gallery but do not mean well for you becoming the voice of reason at the mountain. Because who knows? Maybe the president might have other thoughts if he's going to leave the presidency. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my point.